What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know?
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome to another First Contact with Josh Poe. That would be me. Dirk Bradshaw will be here momentarily with the cosmic news for today. But before we do that, let's get started as we always do with our 13-moon calendar for today. Today's called the White Galactic Mirror. White Galactic Mirror. White is the color of refinement. The galactic tones, tone number 8 is called the galactic tone of integrity, and the mirror is the 18th symbol. The mirror is about reflection. Think about when you look in a mirror. The reflection can be endless because it continues to reflect back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the guide for today is the wind, the white wind. The phrase for today, I harmonize in order to reflect, modeling order. I seal the matrix of endlessness with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of spirit. On the Gregorian calendar, it is Wednesday, May 11th, 2011. That gets us up to speed on the news and the information today. As far as the date goes, now Dirk's got some news about the new Madrid Fault, and you need to hear this because, well, there's stuff going on in New Madrid that's kind of serious and intense, and here you go. Dirk, over to you.
Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a caveman. I fell on some ice and later got thawed out by some of your scientists. Your world frightens and confuses me. Sometimes the honking horns of your traffic makes me want to jump out of my BMW and run off to the hills or whatever. Sometimes when I get a message on my fax machine, I wonder, did little demons get inside and type it? I don't know. My primitive mind can't grasp these concepts. But there is one thing I do know. Free in LA is the greatest thing on the internet, or whatever it's called. Free in LA has over 3,000 things to do. Free in Los Angeles. So you don't have to be a caveman to know that freeinla.com is the place to be.
Hey there, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is time for the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight we are going to be talking about the recent dramatic increase in sales of survival products to customers in the Midwest. The reason for this increase in sales would seem intuitive. Midwest states have been getting routinely hammered by epic winter snows, and indeed this is partially the case. However, after interviewing a bunch of people from the Midwest, we made a new and rather sobering discovery. Many of these Midwesterners are becoming increasingly worried about the new Madrid seismic zone. An increase in Arkansas's earthquakes and the strange and poorly explained deaths of thousands of birds and fish in the region, and they are planning for the worst. When most people in the United States think of seismic zones, they generally think of people over here in the... When most people think of earthquakes in the United States, they usually think of us here in California with our San Andreas Fault. But it may surprise you to learn that there is another active seismic zone in the United States, one that is responsible for this country's 4 largest earthquakes ever, with magnitudes exceeding 8.0, and it is not on the West Coast. That's right, it is in the Midwest. Tonight, the Cosmic News looks into the new Madrid Fault. Brothers and sisters of the Midwest, you're definitely going to want to hear this stuff.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
It's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, oh I'm a rocket man.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Dan Fight, and I accidentally found a bunch of really crucial evidence about secret military domestic operations. I think that this kind of thing is basically very, very similar to what people commonly think of as martial law, including military detention facilities with American citizens, search and seizure, things of that nature. So let's take a quick look here and find out exactly how you can dig up this information for yourself in this quick video. Alright, so what we do is we search for USAR North Con Plan 3501, and the first thing we get is this guy right here, this presentation. So let's get ready to download that here, and it'll show you how to get that. Downloading. It says this connection is untrusted. I understand the risks. Add exception. Cha-cha. Get certificate. And then confirm security exception. You have to do that. It's annoying. So now my computer, okay, now it wants to save the file. Save the PowerPoint. Boom. Alright. 7 megs. Okay. So it is hosted on eportal.usace.army.mil. Alright, let's look at the file. Okay, so this is the very interesting presentation to check out. So here's how it works. This presentation was supposed to be for something called the New Madrid Seismic Zone earthquake exercise, which basically would be a huge test of what would happen in an earthquake in the heartland of the United States. Basically, this is a fault line zone in this area here. And so the Army wants to do a test to see if they can set up a command center using one of these methods. This is basically the same system that was used in the Gulfwater Horizon disaster, so it's very, very comparable to that. And it's very interesting in and of itself, all this material is, but what's even crazier is the information on slide number 2 in presentation number 11, which, as we look here, has information saying that the purpose of this briefing is to receive your approval on actions completed for revising Con Plan 3502 civil disturbance operations, with reason for revising, the overview, a synopsis of the base plan, and the way ahead. And somebody named Colonel Francie, the Chief of Staff, received this briefing last Wednesday on the 10th of February, and their guidance was incorporated. So what we have here is an accidental note that was accidentally left in this presentation about basically an entirely different plan than the earthquake plan, which is Con Plan 3501. Instead, it's Con Plan 3502. So as we go through the presentation, we can look at a little more information about how Northcom works and how it deals with FEMA when there's big things like disasters. And so you can see that they operate, they're mentioning Pittsburgh and the G20 in here, talking about, you know, disasters, whatnot, etc., etc. There's also this pretty crazy org chart that shows that Northcom is expanding. They operate through FEMA regions, basically. They operate with something called Defense Coordinating Officers inside of every FEMA region office. So you see the Chicago Region 5 is Colonel Fulton and 26 people in FEMA Region 4, etc., etc. Okay, so the other crucial piece of evidence to put in this mix is something called the Domestic Operational Law Handbook for Judge Advocates, which is an official publication. You can easily find it on Google, and it's got a lot of just, you know, generally spooky stuff in it. National Framework for Incident Management, high, you know, chemical thingamajigs, support for civilian law enforcement, and now we'll just go to civil disturbance operations. There's also all the crap about drugs and stuff too, but we want to focus on Chapter 5, Civil Disturbance Operations. So this has just tons of details about all these different, kinds of regulations and stuff. But hey, look, check this out. Right down there, U.S. Northcom, Conplan 3502. Major stuff being noted. So basically, as we go around and looking in this chapter, there's a lot of stuff, blah, 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 spooky stuff, blah, 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 lethality, blah, 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 blah. And so, but as we get down there, we see, SIDCONs. Now, SIDCONs are civil disturbance conditions, and they are supposed to be levels of preparedness when something is about to happen, and represents increase in preparedness. And so it specifically says that Northcom Conplan 3502 describes how this system works. So again, as we move along, we see other stuff, hot pursuit, blah, blah, blah. Now check this out. Should the task force be required to operate a detention facility, blah, blah, blah. Footnotes 85, 86. Riot control agents. Building of troops. So check it out. U.S. Army Northcom, Conplan 3502, Conplan 3502, Conplan 3502, Conplan 3502. Other side, Conplan 3502 to deal with the insurance claims for negligence. And so really, I mean, Conplan 3502 is just all over this dang thing. So basically, when we look at those two things together, we can see that what we found is the trigger for Conplan 3502. We found all these back references, and elsewhere in this chapter, it also just basically says that, that more or less Conplan 3502 is an official plan for detention facilities. There it is, right there. So, I mean, if you're the kind of person that's concerned about things like FEMA camps and stuff like that, you got to realize that this is exactly where the Conplan 3502, it just fits right into all that stuff that people are worried about. And this, again, also just proves basically the garden plot, the old plan from the 60s and the Kerner Commission, was officially replaced by these Conplans, by Conplan 3502. Basically, the proof is all right in here. So, once again, this is the Domestic Operational Law Handbook. So, yeah. Alright, so hopefully these files that we found on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers server can help illustrate this pretty secret framework that the military uses to run all these kinds of things. And we ask ourselves, why should we take this seriously? I mean, this has domestic, military detention of Americans, it has riot control stuff, it has intelligence stuff. It's a big secret plan, and it's clearly the kind of plan where things like the G20 and the RNC are based on. And so basically, we need to call for transparency. We need full copies of all of these Conplan 3502s and so forth. And we basically just need to get the word out and have people know that this is where these plans come from. This is where the Deepwater Horizon structure came from. That's where this stuff came from. So please get this out there, and I want to thank my friends with Twin Cities Indie Media and Chicago Indie Media, Pittsburgh Indie Media, Glassbead Collective, Cryptome.org, PublicIntelligence.net. So many different people have helped teach me up to this point, and this is what I think everybody needs to see. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.
Predict that, oh boy, a bigger one is coming. We yet don't have a pattern here correctly. When you see a tremor, this means something.
Well, of course, there's always a bigger one coming, but in terms of being able to tell when it's going to happen, we have no idea. And we do try to look for patterns, but I think the more we look, the more we realize it's very hard to see any repeatable pattern.
So outside of, we know the corridor on the West Coast, from Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Now, another big area I've always heard of that people don't talk about much is St. Louis. So very quickly, tell us about that fault.
Well, I don't think we know much about the fault except for the fact that there were three very large earthquakes, two in 1811 and a third one in 1812, and then there was another magnitude 6.5 earthquake in 18